Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. My name is Mars, and today we're going to be going through the trial of the Lich. And I know I did a video on it a few days ago, but I know people have been asking for more commentary guides to kind of explain what I do. And so now that I understand the fight a little bit better, I figured it would be a good time to bring this to you, especially since I've been able to replicate this a few times. So before diving into the strategy behind this, a quick look at the team. I'm just running a draw attacks Demon Rain. Some people choose to put some death resistance on him so that once in a while he doesn't get killed by the boss with death, but I found it's not really necessary. It's not a huge deal. And I'm also not sealing the death attacks. That's too much work. Especially because it's not that hard to deal with it. So in this case, it's just Demon Rain with some draw attacks. You can replace them with any other draw attacks tank and they'll do just fine. Having a little bit of elemental resistance to fire and thunder and dark and also ice is a good idea, but mine doesn't have ice resist, so he does well enough. Now I'm using Mira as my healer. You can use pretty much any other 7-star healer out there. The main reason I like Mira particularly with this party is because she does have an Entrust ability that she can use with her multicast, so she is able to heal, raise, entrust, kind of do all that stuff at the same time. And because many of her abilities are abilities and not spells, she isn't bothered by being silenced. So if you're somebody who's frustrated by silence, using somebody like Mira or Aerith, for example, are great units because they have strong abilities that won't be silenced. So she's also built with status element immunity and some elemental resistance. You don't have to have it this high. I think 50% to fire, ice, and thunder and dark is probably the most recommended for a party like this. Now for my breaker, I'm running King Edgar of Figaro. He's basically built for High Tide, Status Ailment Immunity, and Ailment Resistance. So he's got a lot of equips on him that help him with generating LB crystals, but he's definitely overkill. And I find that sometimes when I follow my rotation kind of perfectly and it goes exactly as planned, I don't need all of the LB fill because I don't actually end up using his Limit Burst. But it's handy to have just in case it's something that you need. Now, for my damage dealer, I'm using a pair of Sabins. Sabin is my preferred damage dealer for this fight because he has an ability called Aura Cannon that gives him Undead Killer for the following turn. So, super handy for dealing burst damage. It does trigger the boss's counterattack, which is unfortunate, but it's worth it because then he punches the boss into the ground. Now, as far as builds go, just high damage, LB damage, and Undead Killer. That's about all you need for the Sabins, and I'm running 2 of my own because finding a friend unit is a pain in the butt. But again, some elemental resistance, if you can fit it on there, is going to help you survive in the final phase. Now the last person I'm bringing is Sylvie. This Sylvie has a ridiculous amount of elemental resistance. You don't need it anywhere near this high, but if you do have high elemental resistance, that will be handy to you. And that's about all you need with her because her kit is plenty strong for itself. So, diving into the fight, Demon Rain honestly doesn't do much aside from draw attacks. So every turn, if you want, you can just defend with him. That's about all you need to do. I have to remember because it's been a minute. Now with Sylvie, I want to make sure I'm buffing elemental resistance and her break resistance skill, and the reason for that is because it also buffs immunity to stop. So we won't be broken, we won't be stopped. Everything will be good. Now King Edgar's going to do our turn 1 break with Bravo Figaro. Hooray! And we're going to have Sabin for these first 2 phases. We want to be doing water damage because that's what Edgar is imperiling. Now his damage rotation includes using Flowing Soul to self-imbue and then Breathing Technique to unlock triple cast. So we're going to go ahead and load that up for damages next turn. And it is really handy burst damage, it's quite good. Now with Mira, we don't have to do much this turn. We can just throw a regen on the party, do an intro, and we're good to go. Another option would be casting Reraise on Demon Rain, because I do believe he gets killed this turn, but you'll see it's really not necessary. Because you see with proper buffs and stuff, the boss doesn't do that much damage. He's not really much of a threat, and yeah, no big deal. Now this boss does still have damage mitigation up. I believe it's 50%. So if your party isn't strong enough to just burst him through it, don't worry. You can kind of put it off. Wait a few turns for the mitigation to drop and you'll be good to go. Now Mira here is going to raise Demon Rain, and because he's passive provoking, we don't actually have to do anything with him. We're just good to go. Now Edgar's going to wait one turn, and he's one of the more complicated units that I'm using in this because his rotation is a little bit bizarre. But I'm going to go ahead and just do some LB fill and MP refresh with Edgar for this turn. Now Sabin's going to ready his triple cast skill, and this is really good, and I'm trying to remember what I do with Sylvie. I think with Sylvie for this turn, I use ailment immunity so that we don't get silenced again, and I believe the other thing I use is magic mitigation. This helps quite a bit with mitigating the incoming damage. So this turn we should be able to push him all the way from 100 to 0. Ooh, it's gonna be close. Yep, there's my signature 1%. Of course. I hate this game. It does this to me all the time. That's like my signature move to get 1%. Dude, Demon Rain, do it. Just push. Come on. How great would that be? Ugh. Alright. Well, since it's going to take an extra turn, I am going to go ahead and re-imbue, and I'm just going to push that last bit of percentage with Sabin. So, Flowing Soul. Did I do the right one on the other guy? I wasn't paying that much attention. Gotta make sure I did it right. It's easy to screw up. Flowing Soul, and then some damage. So we're going to go ahead and just push that last bit. Easy. Alright, now Demon Rain is the tank that I chose because I like having Entrust, just to guarantee some Sabin limit bursts. And same with Mira. I can get some limit bursts out of her as well. So we're going to go ahead and Entrust, so the Sabins are ready to rock. Now this turn, it's a little bit screwed up on my rotation, so I'm going to go ahead and just LB with Edgar. This is a really, really big break, really handy to have. And then Sylvie's going to go ahead and buff defenses and some more mitigation. And we should be good to go. Now, if you're not aware, Edgar's LB is an 84% all stats break, so it is extremely, extremely good. Which probably wasn't necessary because I just remembered that the boss dispelled himself. Not to worry, it works in our favor. So this turn, what we want to do is use Sylvie. And we're going to go ahead and reapply elemental resistance, as well as break the boss's attack and magic. So this is really handy. I'm going to boost defense and spirit, probably on one of my Sabins, because they're more prone to die than anybody else in the party. So this will help us with breaks again. Perfect. And then Edgar's going to activate Awkward Inventor, and I believe I can multicast it. Yes, I can. So we're going to use Awkward Inventor. We're going to go ahead and fill some MP just for good measure, because it fills his own limit burst at the same time. So Awkward Inventor unlocks his upgraded skills, so we want to have that ready to go. Now I can choose to entrust people if I want to. Demon Rain can just defend. And then we're not actually going to do Sabin damage with Sabin this turn. We just want to use Breathing Technique, and I think we can whittle the boss down a little bit, but we don't want to burst him down just yet, because we want to make Phase 3 as short as possible. Because Phase 3 is where the ouch turns on, so we're going to go ahead and just do some damage so that next turn we can guarantee kill Phase 2. If you didn't know, this boss re-raises himself twice, so you basically have to kill him 3 times. And each time he comes back, he has more HP than the time before. So you do need to really ramp up your damage if you do want to go for the one-shot strat each and every time. Alright, so he's buffed himself, or no, he prepped his next magic attack. That's what that animation is. So with Mira, we're going to go ahead and raise again, we're going to heal again, and that's all we're going to do there. Now Edgar has his upgraded skills, which is great, because now we can use his on-demand attack magic break, as well as Trifecta Drill, which is his triple imperil, which is what we're going to want in order to burst Lich down. And it's a very cool animation, I'm a huge fan of that. And I believe we need to rebuff Stop and Break Resist. I don't believe that was up previously. We're also going to do some mitigation, so that that's ready to go. And then the Sabins are ready for bony booty punching. Let's go. Oh wait. Oh no. I know what I did wrong. I know why my damage is going to be lower. I didn't use Aura Cannon, which is definitely a good way to prep burst damage. If you use Aura Cannon, like double cast it with your triple cast prep attack. Well, we can show you what that would look like, but I kind of screwed up my rotation, so I'm not going to be able to one-shot him. So we're probably going to get ouched pretty hard because we just pushed a bunch of thresholds. Oh, never mind, I lied. We're not going to get ouched hard at all. I don't know what I was afraid of. Excellent. Well, I believe Edgar can just go ahead and reactivate his skill. I don't think the Lich buffed or dispelled himself or anything. So let's just have the Sabins go ahead and do their damages again. This should be enough to take him out. Just goes to show you don't have to do it all in one turn. The boss is not too scary. And for a second, I thought I was about to have my second signature 1% in the same fight, and I was going to have a tiny conniption. Alright, I think we're going to go there. Some more ailment resistance, yada yada. Gonna do some healing, and trusting, just so that her LB fills. And then the boss is still broken, and so we don't have to reapply that. We're just going to go ahead and fill some LB because the Sabins are a little bit dry. That restores a pretty chunky amount of MP. Now you'll see every time we pass the thresholds, we do get silenced, but it's not a big deal. We don't actually really care because we are just using abilities. We're not actually using any spells, so it's not a big deal. Alright, so for this turn, we are going to prep for our big burst turn. This phase is definitely the most helpful one for you to be able to one-shot. So with Edgar, we're going to go ahead and do Critical Call and Trifecta again. So that's going to break the boss and apply those nice imperils. Now Sabins are going to prep for burst, and their burst damage is humongous in this setup. So we're going to use Aura Cannon. This gives them 100% Undead Killer for the following turn, and we're going to use Soul Spiral, which takes their HP to 1. Which, if you don't know this about Sabin, he does more damage with his limit burst if his HP was beneath 20% on the previous turn. So this will allow him to have that. And it also heals all allies, so only one Sabin will be, beneath full health. Demon Rain can defend again. If their LBs were not full, you'd want to entrust to make sure that they are, so that next turn they are just ready to rip-a-roni. I'm gonna go ahead and entrust to Sylvia again. It would be really handy to have her LB up because the elemental resistance can come in handy, but we'll just go for big buffs instead. So hopefully we should be able to survive this turn. This turn can hurt quite a lot because we just did some light damage to the boss. Yeah, as you can see, very, very close. If you're not sure you're going to survive, you can Reraise. With Sabin, it definitely can screw up his rotation. Other damage dealers don't have the same issue, but basically the boss reacted like that because we did light damage to him. Alright, this is our kind of our do or die turn. You definitely can recover from this point if you're not able to one-shot the boss, but the whole design behind this party is that I do one-shot the boss because I don't want to deal with phase 3. It definitely hurts the most and it is obnoxious. So I'm just going to light imbue the Sabins so that they can take advantage of Lich's light weakness as well as the imperil that Edgar applied previously. So all they got to do is wind up their LBs and let her rip. Oh yeah, they're gonna kill him by like 100 miles. Yeah, that was not even close. Yeah, Lich is 800,000% dead. So anyways, this video is more aimed at, oh damn, 102 million damage. I think that's a personal best on that last turn. Anyways, this video is not designed to be like, a come all be all, take any party in and replicate this sort of guide, but it was more to explain the rationale behind what I did because, I see a lot of people out there saying, oh, I have to have Manufacted Nethicite or Celeste or Rena for ability ceiling so my tank doesn't die or things like that, but that's not really the case. You can run the fight however you like to, use whatever units make sense for you and your party. This is just how I did it. I had a blast with it. So let me know down in the comments below, what units did you use against Lich? What sort of strategy did you run? I want to hear about how you did it, so share with me down in the comments below, and I'll see everybody in the next video.